What's going on, everyone? Thanks for checking out this video. Today I'm going to tell you everything I can about this fabulous Shadow Step e-bike. Now, fabulous refers to this as a scrambler style e-bike. It's got dual suspension, dual batteries, a 1,000-watt rear hub motor, and it's all sitting on cool mag wheels. Let's check it out. All right, folks, this is the Shadow Step e-bike from Fabulous e-bikes, and they call it a scrambler style e-bike. Some people call it moped style. Whatever you decide to call it, I think it's just a way of saying this is a bike you're going to ride for the pure enjoyment of riding a small little electric vehicle, not so much to pedal it and get a workout, right? Just meant to have fun. Definitely got some cool styling. I'm loving the mag wheels. And let's start walking through this thing front to back. I'll give you some of the specs. The Shadow has 20x4 fat tires, and they are Kenda Crusade brand. I do like the Crusades a lot. They have a kind of aggressive looking tread pattern on them, and they're pretty quiet on the pavement, surprisingly quiet for how knobby they are. You've got mag wheels. It's not a quick release. It's an axle that goes through there, and you've got 180 millimeter hydraulic disc brakes. They are Zoom hydraulics, and they seem to work just fine. The Shadow's got a complete lighting package. So you got headlight here at the front, and on the back of the rack, you've got your tail light, brake light, and turn signals. So you got all the lights you need. Also has an electric horn. Right here are all your controls on your left hand. The bike comes equipped with a rear rack and also fenders, both front and back, and they are metal fenders. They look really nice. They can be a little loud when you get rocks flinging up into them, but other than that, very nice. You've got a Mozo front suspension fork. It's a dual crown or double crown fork, and sometimes when you have this setup, it can be a little bit cumbersome for your turning radius, but this one, the frame is skinny enough that it really doesn't affect the turning radius at all, having the double crown fork. So no issue there at all, and they do have multiple points of adjustment here on the top of the fork. And as you can see, we got BMX style handlebars. I like those because they give you good control of the front end. You've got leather grips. They're locking rings on each end so it stays stationary in your hand. That's great. Twist throttle, love it. This button right here actually can disengage the throttle. If you don't want the throttle active, you can just push that button. Your thumb shifter here, 7-speed, Shimano. Again, Zoom hydraulic brakes. I'll turn the display screen on for you. It's the LCD 8H display, full color display. I like this one a lot. It's really easy to program. I'm always pleased when I see the LCD 8H on a bike. That's a good sign. And then all your controls over here. This is headlight, your turn signal switch, your horn, and then this controls your display over here. All right, now let's take a step back and just take a look at the frame on this bike. It's a heavy duty, robust frame. On this Shadow bike, you got a bar that comes down here, and then another one right here that your batteries are mounted into. You got a lot of extra metal here under the seat. The rear rack, it looks like it can be removed too if you'd want to take that off. You got dual suspension springs in the back, the mag wheels, and if you're keeping track in your head, all of this weight adds up. And this is a heavy bike. I weighed it on two different scales. One said 106 pounds and the other said 105. So this is a 100+ pound e-bike. Definitely something to keep in mind if you at all need to lift your bike. This is a heavy one, 105 pounds. Now, a good amount of that weight is going to come from the dual battery packs. You got two battery packs here. This is a USA version of the bike. So these are 60-volt battery packs, and they're both 15 amp hours. So you got 30 amp hours of battery pack on here at 60 volts. That is a ton of capacity, and I did a range test on the bike because I know you're going to want to know how far it goes, so that you'll see that in the performance footage. But I got nearly 50 miles without pedaling at all, really. Just kind of wide open throttle, trying to burn through as quick as I could. Took me nearly 50 miles. So you got a ton of range. If you're going to put a little into the pedals, you can go further than that. But again, this isn't a bike you're really going to probably pedal a whole lot. And if you want to save a little bit of weight, you could remove this one battery pack. If you're doing a shorter ride, you want to take that battery pack off and have better access to your step through, save a little bit of weight, you can remove this one and just ride the bike with a single battery. This one kind of slides in from the side, the other side, and this one slides down on like a normal battery cradle. But you can operate this bike with just the one battery installed. And I believe they do sell this bike with a single battery, and you could always add the second battery as an option later on. And I mentioned this is the USA version of the bike. The Canadian version of this same bike, I believe, has 48-volt batteries, but they're larger. They're 20 amp hour instead of 15. So you get 48-volt, 40 amp hour capacity when you get both batteries. That's a lot. Either way, you're getting a ton of capacity on this bike. For the seat, you've got this bench seat, no adjustment in it at all. And it's got, see if I can get the angle right for you to see out of the sun. It kind of pitches down toward the front. So on the front side, it's like 32 3/4 from the ground to the top of that seat. And then if you take the measurement here, it's like 33 1/2. So it's got a little bit of an angle sloping you towards the handlebars. And riding around town, it felt pretty comfortable. I only really noticed the tilt when I was on the range test, and I'm at mile 40. I'm like, okay, I can kind of feel myself sliding forward on the bike a little bit. But you could probably fix that by just putting a couple extra washers under here to tilt the seat back up. I'm not sure if they designed it like that because they were thinking maybe when you sit on the bike, the suspension springs will sag a little bit and cause it to level out. But to me, it was a pretty comfortable ride position around town. I also had my wife try out the bike. She could get her feet down on the ground. She was comfortable with that, but she did feel like she was stretching a little bit too far for the handlebars, and you could probably just tilt these a little bit further back. That might eliminate that issue for her. Now, I will say this bike is not for someone who wants to pedal a whole lot or expects to put a lot of input into the pedals. As I'm pedaling this thing around, my knees felt like they were coming up above my waist. It's not ergonomically set up to be a bike you pedal a whole lot. I mean, that's not how I rode it anyway. I mean, I rode the range test 50 miles without pedaling it. It's one of those bikes that you're riding it like a little electric motorcycle, moped, scrambler, whatever you want to call it. For the gearing on the bike, up front, you've got a 52-tooth front chainring that is aluminum and double-sided. And on the back, the freewheel is 1132. That's pretty good gearing. I really only noticed myself running out of feeling in the pedals for the very top end of pedaling. I took a clip of me pedaling at like 30 miles an hour. And once you hit 30 plus, your legs are spinning pretty quick, but again, not the style of bike you're probably going to be pedaling a whole lot. Now, folks always want to know, does it have a torque sensor or does it have a cadence sensor for pedal assist? This has a torque assist sensor, and basically that means the bike is keeping track of your initial pedal pressure. Once it feels pressure, it engages and it delivers you a constant power. So it's not a cadence sensor, but it's only tracking the initial pressure and not continuously monitoring it like a true torque sensor. So it's quicker to engage. You don't, I mean, a quarter of a turn on the pedals and it's kicking in. It recognizes that pressure pretty quick. But that's your PAS system, a torque assist sensor. Now let's talk about the cargo capacity in the rear rack. I want to point out you don't have any front mounting bracket here for a basket on the front. You can't really do that when you got the double crown forks, right? When you turn, it's going to hit into any basket. So no cargo capacity at the front. The back, the rack is kind of short. I mean, you're not going to put a full length tail bag on there at all because you've got like this handle that's in the way, and that's welded on. You're not removing that handle. I like the handle though. The handles are really convenient for when you want to spin this bike around quickly in your garage and do a immediate U-turn. I found the handle to be really useful and I wouldn't want to lose that. But it does take up some space here on the back rack. So you got to find a shorter bag to fit on here, or I think the better option on this bike would be to do saddlebags that would just hang down right here. That would be the best, I think, most capacity cargo is to have saddlebags. And hidden inside your rear mag wheel is your 1000-watt motor. And I also checked the controller to see what the amps are in the controller. Controller is hiding down inside here, and it said it was a 28 amp max current. That seems about right numbers wise, because on the screen you do have a watt meter. Let me turn it on again for you here. And I was keeping track as I was riding right here on the bottom, watt meter, and it was peaking. If you pinned the throttle up a hill and just where it was pulling the most power, it was approaching 1600 watts. That's about your peak watts. Really good power. And I like that setup a lot. 1000-watt motor with 28 amp peak controller. That's a really good setup. I didn't feel like it was lacking in the speed and the power. And I've got some clips here to show you of top speeds, hill climbs, range tests, all that. Let's take a look. All right, let's give this Shadow a top speed test. I forgot my phone holder, but we'll make do. Strong headwind, holy cow. About 30 so far. There is a little bit of a downhill coming up. So about 30 on the flat. Slight downhill. 33, 34. about all you get there. 34 in the downhill part. All right, time for our hill climb test. A typical 750 watt e-bike will climb this hill in about 22 to 25 seconds. This Shadow is a 60 volt system. It has a 1,000 watt motor, so I'm expecting it to be faster than that. We'll see as we go up. I'll get a better feel. All right, here we go, Shadow. 3, 2, 1, go. Pretty good pull right off the line. Feels strong. Already 15 miles an hour. Still increasing speed, even through the steep part here. And time. That felt quick. I'll have to check in the editing, but I'm gonna guess that was probably 20 seconds or under. That felt really strong. Great hill climb power. Great hill climb, and that's me not helping it at all. It's the bike just pulling me 180 pounds up the hill. Let's see if I can give you an acceleration test here. 0 to 20 miles an hour. 3, 2, 1, go. It's got a good pull off the line. I mean, great power. And there's 20 right there. It's pretty quick. It's a nice steady build into the power. All right, let's see if we can't do another top speed run down here where we're out of the wind, no headwind, long, level, straight ground. Okay. 31, 32, 32. I haven't found any spots where the motor really stops helping yet. We're gonna do this big downhill and just see how fast it'll go. When does the motor ever kick out? I'm at 36 miles an hour. 40, 41, 42. I mean, the motor feels like it's still going. I don't think it ever kicks out. All right, we know it comes down this hill really fast. Let's see how fast it'll go back up it. All right, I'm gonna have to watch for traffic, but I'm not gonna pedal at all here. I'm expecting it to be pretty darn slow. I mean, it's a heavy bike to go up a pretty steep hill. No traffic behind me yet. We're down to 16 miles an hour. I mean, it's gonna make it no problem. It's just not gonna do it real fast. Now we're starting to level back out. It's increasing back up to 20, 18 miles an hour. So yeah, no problem carrying me right back up that steep hill. It just didn't do it lightning fast. Suspension, super nice. Super nice. Got those dual springs in the back. I mean, it's a very comfortable ride, even on this really bumpy field. Great job there on that. No complaints. Now let's go over here and try our short, steep little hill climb test, the one that the 750 watt bikes cannot do. The 750 watt bikes, they can't make this hill throttle only. It's just too short, too steep. Let's see if this bike can do it with its 60 volt system, 1,000 watt motor. I don't know if it will or not. This is really tough on bikes. I know it doesn't come through on camera, but it's really tough to do this. Let's see. If it makes it, it'll be by the skin of its teeth, I think. So let's give it a shot. Here we go. Go straight up. Yeah, made it. All right, nice. It's got some good torque. I mean, it's a heavy bike. It's a heavy bike. Carrying a rider, no help up that short, steep hill. That's pretty good. Okay, one of the standout features on this bike is got to be the range, right? You got dual battery packs. Each of them is 15 amp hour. And on top of that, they're 60 volt batteries. So that adds to the capacity. There's 1,800 watt hours on this one bike. So I'm expecting a very long range. I had another bike where I did a throttle only range test with a similar amount of battery capacity. It went over 50 miles. So I'm expecting this to be kind of close to that. We're gonna go find out. We're gonna do throttle only until there's no more usable power. Let's get rolling. All right, we are off and running. We're gonna pretty much do no pedaling. This isn't a bike you really pedal a lot anyway. So throttle only, no pedaling. And yeah, I'll check back in as we start to lose, you know, battery bars. I've already got 13 miles from doing all my filming and clips yesterday. So we're starting at 13 miles here. I got my phone running in my pocket too. We'll check it against the GPS. You know. All right, we stopped for a quick break because I've lost 2 battery bars, 2 of the 4, and I'm resting at about 60 volts. So I think we're about half battery capacity left, and I've gone 22 miles so far. So I guess we're on track for, you know, mid 40s. I guess we'll see. I'm out here, way out in the country, a lot less traffic out here, just burning through miles on these country roads. Let's wait for this truck. So I don't think we're gonna go quite as far as that other bike went, and I've been trying to figure out why, and I think it's probably due to 2 things. This bike weighs a lot more than that other bike with similar battery capacity. This bike weighs about 30 pounds more. This is a heavy moped style bike. And then the wheel and tire package. This has 4-inch fat tires. That other one had skinnier 3-inch tires on it. So those 2 things, they matter. You know, rolling resistance and weight. Weight's probably the bigger factor. But let's burn through some more miles on this. That was a big downhill. We hit like almost 37 miles an hour. Now we're on the uphill. You can see how it slowed down to 18. But this is what really puts a hurting on the battery. A long, slow hill like this. I mean, it's gonna make it no problem. All right, folks, we have lost all battery bars at this point. The battery indicator is completely blank. Let me see if I can get it where you can see it. So we started this range test when there was 4 miles on the trip meter. Now there's 40, so we're 36 miles in. I got no battery bars. It's resting at 57.1 volts. The power's still really strong. I'll do an acceleration here for you. This is what it's got left for power. I mean, it doesn't feel any different. It still feels like it has full power. So we haven't lost any power, even though the battery indicator is blank. All right, we are at 42 miles, and I still got really good power. We got a slight incline here. Let's see how fast it'll go. It's not quite as strong. I can feel on the takeoff, but still, 42 miles. We're going on an incline at 25 miles an hour, 26. That's pretty good. Still going. I mean, that's very, very, very usable power still. Okay, I'm at 47 miles. This thing just keeps going. Here's how much power it's got. Go out on this straight stretch here. 47 miles in. It may hit 50. It's lost a little bit of a step, but perfectly flat ground. It can still take me to 24, 25, still gaining, 26, 27, 28. I mean, it's still going 28 miles an hour on level ground. This thing's crazy. Well, we finally reached the end. It had full power, carrying me 28 miles an hour down the road, just up until the very end when it finally cut out. I guess it must have hit the like low voltage cutout mark, because it still had like full power right till the very end. It went 49 miles, full blast throttle, 49 miles. I checked my phone GPS, that said 47 miles. So let's split the difference, call it 48 miles of throttle only range out of this bike going full blast. I'm happy with that. I think that's pretty impressive. That's what a bike like this needs. When you got a moped style bike that you're not going to pedal a whole lot, I think having those dual battery packs, all that capacity, that's key. So there you go. How far does it go? 48 miles without pedaling it, riding it as hard as you want to ride. Pretty darn good. Well, I hope you found that ride footage helpful. If you're considering buying this Shadow bike, a lot of positives here, right? I'm digging the styling. I think it's got cool styling. I like the mag wheels. I like the paint job. It's got a cool look for around town. It's got good speed. I mean, you're going 30 miles an hour on the flats, 34 on the slight downhill, even faster if you're on a big downhill. A lot of times these bikes will be programmed where the motor just stops assisting at 28. Not the case on this one. It just kept going and going. Great hill climb power, stronger hill climb power than a 750 watt bike, that's for sure. Very pleased with that. Pleased with the range. I mean, 48 miles, not pedaling this thing. That is a pretty good range. What else? Accessible. Seat height, 32 to 33 inches. That's pretty good. I mean, that's good for shorter riders. My wife is 5'4". She was able to get on the bike no problem. So if you're on the shorter side, I think it's a good bike for you. Also, you got access to a little bit of a step through here if you can't swing your leg around the rear rack. You've got that. All right, now let's talk about negatives. I want to be fair. So here's what I'm going to point out. Number one is the weight. 105-pound e-bike. That's important to know. 105 pounds. If you're all going to be lifting this bike, keep that in mind. The next thing I'll say is limited cargo capacity. You don't have an easy solution here to mount on the front. You'd have to come up with your own solution. There's no front mounting basket. And then on the back, this rack is kind of small. I think you're going to get the most cargo capacity if you put on saddlebags, or you've got these holes right here that you could use. You could mount a plate on here and mount like a top case. I'll put up a picture if you don't know what a top case is. A lot of times they're on scooters, motorcycles. That would probably be a good setup on this. I don't know if people like the look of it, but it would give you a lot of storage solution. Next, I'll say not a bike for people who really want to get a workout and pedal a lot. Ergonomically, if you're a taller rider, I'm 6 feet tall. I didn't really find this too comfortable to pedal. So if that's what you're looking for, probably not the bike for you. Another little small thing I'll point out, again, the seat tilt, but if that bothered you, I think you could really solve it by just putting a couple washers underneath there and tilt it back up. So I don't really see that as a major issue. And one other thing I want to point out that I think is only going to come into play if you're going to off-road this bike, and that's right here, these wires. So they come down the frame and they come out of the frame. There's like 6 wires here. They come out of the frame, go around the controller box, and then back inside the frame. I find that odd. I'm not sure why they come out of the frame and then go right back in. When I opened this up, there wasn't much space inside that controller box. Maybe they did that because there was limited room. But, you know, around town, I think this is a non-issue. But if you're going to be off-roading this through the woods and you're going to have to hop over down trees or big rocks or something, I mean, they put skid plates on motorcycles and dirt bikes for a reason, right? Because this is where you're going to get bashed with a tree log or a rock or something. So this isn't sharp at all, but it's still your wires bent across a 90-degree angle. So I think it's only going to come into play, like I said, off-roading around town. I don't really see it being a big issue, but I wanted to point that out because I don't know how you're going to use this bike. So trying to cover all bases. So what do you think? You digging this Shadow bike? Let me know what you think in the comments. All right, folks, that's all I can think of to tell you about the Shadow bike today. If I miss something, drop in the comments. I'll do my best to answer if I can. I will link this bike below in case you want to go investigate and check it out a little bit further. And as always, I hope you found this video helpful, informative, at least maybe entertaining. If you did, do me a favor, hit subscribe. Come back for some more. Thanks.